welcome to KZ Local Time. My name is Daneil. In this program we meet people from different corners of the world who came to Kazakhstan for various reasons, and they all share one common thing, their love of this country. The guest of our today's program will be Daneil Gunasilas from India. Daneil's taking a closer look at his email inbox. He and I spent good 3 hours talking and filming, so now is the time to do some catching up, especially if one is in charge of such a large enterprise. Daneil's company manufactures equipment for the oil and gas industry. It is currently represented in 26 countries. Now it's a thriving business. But in 1997, shortly after he set it up, he had to go through some rough times.
I think in Kazakhstan we went through two crises. One was in 1999 when the tenge devalued 100%, 50%. From 65 tenge to 130 overnight. We almost lost our business. And we had distributors all over Kazakhstan, and I lost more than $1 million in a single day. And that was a major, the company was 2 years old company. So losing so much of my money was a major loss to me. Actually, we almost went bankrupt. And then we started building up again. And the construction subprime crisis also hit us bad. But more than the subprime crisis, the lack of projects in the oil and gas industry for the last 2 years was a bad time for us. But we are coming up again.
However, Daneil believes that success in business is almost always guaranteed if one gets through the initial 1 or 2 years after they establish a company. These years are usually fraught with teething problems. But no pains, no gains. This motto and the belief in oneself is Daneil's advice to budding entrepreneurs.
Any business, you go through initial easy step, and then you face the reality when the rubber hits the road. That's why you start feeling the frustration. And that's the time many people give up. If they don't give up the 1 to 2 year period, they can be successful. So I tend to encourage the people, come on, stay back, stay on put.
But running a business is also lots of fun, Daneil says, especially when you can come up with new ways of encouraging your staff and developing a corporate culture of trust and progress that drives the business forward. He's convinced that money shouldn't be the only thing that whips up people's interest in doing the job. That's why he's got a unique approach to employee appraisals based on two most important indicators.
One is attitude towards the company and your attitude towards one another. Because I'm a people person, I love people. Even all through this crisis, we have not reduced one staff. Because for me, each and every one of the staff is very important to me. They are family members to me. And that's what we have in the company. We don't have a fixed working schedule. People, I tell them, take it easy. It's your own company. If you have to, let's say, take your kid to the school or go to the hospital or some other work, feel free. It's your own company. And that has resulted in everyone taking ownership.
Daneil grew up in the south of India in a big family of 5 children. His father has always been a great inspiration to the children. The striving to follow his own pathway, be independent and worship knowledge, all these are the teachings which his father professed.
He always kind of planted in my heart a dream, a desire to be someone who can fulfill the vision in their life. Not just living for... My father always used to say, if you live only for yourself, you are living in a very small box. You are useless. My father used to say, when you were born, you cried. And all of us laughed. Everybody congratulated, laughed. But when you go, so many people should cry. And you should be happy that you have completed your calling. You have completed something good in your life. I think that gave me a lot of input to my life.
Daneil invests a lot in education. In a way, this is also the result of his upbringing and his desire to help children have a happier life at school. School age is when kids should be encouraged to open up and live freely without fear or inhibitions. Daneil says that it's necessary to make sure children grow into independent and mature adults. Interestingly, Daneil himself studied at the school which his dad had built. Now Daneil's children go to a school built by their father. As he says, he tries to make sure kids have overall development and get a value for life.
Well, I'm coming from India where it's a rat race. Education is a rat race. You have to study, study, study. In order to be the top of the 1.2 billion people, you have to really slog it out. And I remember 12 years of education, it's a 12 years of nightmare for me. Nothing good. The kid's 5-year-old kid, he is carrying weight of books heavier than himself. And there's nothing good about the system because the best period of the kid's life where he can blossom, we kill them with education.
His father used to tell Daneil a lot about the Soviet Union. The two nations enjoyed a strong multi-sided relationship. One can even say that Daneil knew the Union inside out. Soviet magazines were around in the family home and the young boy read them from cover to cover. Naturally, visiting this country was his childhood dream, which actually never materialized. A week was to go before departure, and he'd packed up a heavy suitcase to fly out to take a course at Lomonosov Moscow State University. And within that week, the Soviet Union collapsed.
So all my dreams of coming to the Soviet Union shattered. And in '93, I came here, first time to former Soviet Union, my dreamland. I landed in Uzbekistan first time, and then I traveled all over former Soviet countries. For a multinational company, I worked as a business development manager.
Even though fate decreed that Daneil never reached his dreamland, he's been able to become quite successful in an absolutely new country. That became his second homeland, and he's lived more than half of his life here. In India, Daneil studied economics and his course was delivered in the Russian language. So about Central Asia he knew firsthand because he did his research on Central Asia's regional economic development. For instance, in Delhi he came across the writings of Chingiz Aytmatov. When he moved to Kazakhstan, he learned more about the legacy of Abay, Mukhtar Awezov, Al-Farabi. Also, he can't forget the first time when he experienced Kazakh hospitality.
I've been to so many places in the world, and everyone talks about their hospitality, how great their hospitality, but the Kazakhs show it. You know, the Kazakhs, my friends tell me that they always keep the best meat for the guests. And the guests come out, they take out the best meat, and they don't just say it, and they do it. And when you go to a Kazakh home, you are so humbled and you are honored by the hospitality and the kind of a dastarhan they put for you, and they take out the best treasures out of the house and then they put it for the guests, and they want to feed you, you know, and they sit there to see the guests eating. When the guests eat, they feel so happy. Not many cultures are like that, so I love to have a lot of guests at home.
Surely Kazakh and Indian cultures are very similar. We both live on the same continent, and this means that we share a lot of things. For instance, in the Kazakh language and in the Tamil language, which is Daneil's first tongue, there is a respectful form of address that younger people use when they talk with older ones.
In India, we have the same culture. I call my dad we, and with respect, my mom, my dad, even my older brother, my older sister, we have to call them we, not auntie kind of a thing. And so that's you know, again, it's very similar. Even my wife calls me we, you know, as an Indian tradition. So I tell her, no, come on, you don't have to do that. But it's in our blood.
As a genuine Kazakh person, Daneil absolutely adores having guests around. Every weekend he gathers his closest people in his home. Together they discuss the news, share impressions, and of course try out real Indian food. When his friends ask him the location of the best Indian restaurant in the city, in jest Daneil says, "It's in my home." I asked Daneil when he realized that he became part of Kazakh culture. He answered that it's a lifelong process which sometimes goes unnoticed, but Daneil says that it's the people who help you to feel at home here.
Gradually, when you live in a country, you start getting to know some friends. And they are the ones who make you really feel at home. And I'm really blessed with a lot of Kazakh friends. And if I can think of, if I'm in need, whom to call, I can't think of anybody else out of my relatives or friend, or my countrymen. I can only think of all of my friends are Kazakhs. And they are the ones who make me feel at home. I have a lot of friends here locally, and we get together often, and that makes you really feel at home.
Daneil has lived in Kazakhstan for more than 20 years now. Over this time, the country has changed enormously. He still remembers the difficult times of the early 1990s, shortly after the republic gained independence. Daneil says it's now even hard to imagine those times were real. He believes that national unity was the decisive factor in this complete transformation.
One thing I like about Kazakhstan, compared to many other former Soviet countries, is the unity of the nations here. That's really, as a foreigner coming and living in this country, you feel, you are not looked with suspicion. You are not looked as if you're a foreigner sitting here. People generally accept, the Kazakh people accept, because they are also brought up with so many nationalities. They had neighbors like let's say Germans or Ukrainians or Russians or Uyghurs or Chinese,
Daneil says he calls his parents every day and misses them a lot. Surely when the entire family is spread all across the world, all his brothers and sisters live on different continents, everyone wants to have regular reunions. The children visit their ancestral home around 3 times a year during the grandkids' school breaks. But they eagerly come back to their second home here in Kazakhstan.
When I go for vacation, my children keep asking me. I think first 1 week they enjoy the holiday, let's say in India, anywhere else, and then they start asking me, when are you going home? When are you going home? For them, home is Kazakhstan. And we look forward to come back.
When Daneil has free time, he plays his favorite sport, badminton. The family prefers active lifestyle. Like everybody who comes to Kazakhstan, and to Almaty in particular, this family just fell in love with this city. Not many cities can offer a luxury of driving only half an hour from one's office to the skiing resort.
Well, I'm a nature person. I love the lakes, the mountains, the valleys, all in one place. That's Almaty. I love to go to Kulsai Lake. It's on the top of the mountain, so beautiful. I love going for fishing sometimes. I love to go to hiking. It's beautiful. And I also love camping sometimes. We go for camping. And we go to the mountain tops. Just camp around.
20 years is a long time. Over this period, Daneil became a successful businessman and brought benefit to the country. Daneil admitted that he doesn't believe in humanitarian aid and thinks that people counting on it do not have a desire for achievement of their own success. He says that opportunities for personal development, on the contrary, open up before a person a lot of interesting prospects and chances for advancement. Daneil's experience makes him believe that absolutely everyone has an inbuilt capacity to run their own business. This is why now he keeps thinking about his new, so far small-scale educational business initiative. He talks about it with a lot of care. Firstly, he shares theory with his students and then offers them to move over to exercises and learn in practice how to manage initially a small but their personal project. He's built a greenhouse to help people become entrepreneurs. In the greenhouse, young people learn how to grow agricultural produce and develop their skills of managing resources and time. He believes that in this way he can bless back the country that made him who he is today. You've been watching KZ Local Time. Goodbye.